The holographic display flickered above Noah Hart's makeshift studio, casting blue shadows across his face as he leaned into the camera. His apartment on Aurelia Spindle was barely larger than a supply closet, but what it lacked in space, it made up for in character. Stacks of salvaged tech hummed quietly in corners, jury-rigged into a broadcast setup that could reach half the settled systems. Welcome back to Second Breakfast, the only show that serves truth with a side of uncomfortable laughter, Noah said, his trademark grin splitting his face. I'm your host, Noah Hart, broadcasting live from the glamorous neutral zone where dreams come to get mugged in an alley. He tapped a control panel, and a gaudy animated logo spun into view behind him. Today's segment, Top 10 Worst Lotteries, including the one for your soul. The logo morphed into a grotesque parody of the official War Bride lottery emblem, complete with cartoon hearts dripping what looked suspiciously like blood. Number 10, Noah began, counting on his fingers. The Colonial Mining Rights Lottery, where you win the chance to die of radiation poisoning on an asteroid nobody wants. Number 9, the Synthetic Organ Lottery, where compatibility rates hover around Russian roulette with worse odds. He paused, letting his audience absorb each joke before moving to the next. The viewer count climbed steadily in the corner of his display. 20,000, 30, 50. But folks, we all know why you're really here. Number 1 on our list, the crown jewel of post-war profiteering, the War Bride Lottery. Noah's voice dripped with theatrical disgust, because nothing says healing the wounds of interstellar conflict quite like turning desperate people into collectible trading cards for the wealthy. The studio's ambient lighting shifted to a sickly green as Noah pulled up official lottery footage. Beautiful humans and elegant Cathari posed in flowing ceremonial garments, their faces frozen in practiced smiles that never reached their eyes. Look at this propaganda, Noah continued, zooming in on the fine print scrolling beneath the images. Cross-cultural reconciliation through structured partnership allocation. That's bureaucrat speak for we're selling you to aliens to pay off war debts, but with extra steps and prettier ribbons. His fingers danced across holographic controls, pulling up shipping manifests and financial records he definitely shouldn't have had access to. See these numbers, every lucky winner comes with a debt forgiveness package. Not for them, mind you, for their home colonies. Sign here. Marry a stranger from a species we were killing 5 years ago. And maybe your little sister gets insulin this month. The viewer count hit 100,000. Comments flooded in faster than the display could process them. Noah's pulse quickened, but he pressed on. The worst part, they've convinced half the galaxy this is romantic. Star-crossed lovers bringing peace through power of love, and compound interest rates. He affected a simpering voice. Oh, look at General Threx's latest acquisition. Such a beautiful ceremony. I wonder if she even speaks Cathari yet. A warning light blinked on his console. Government trackers pinging his location. Noah ignored it. He'd dealt with automated censorship bots before. But here's what really burns my reactor core, he said, leaning closer to the camera. They call it consent. They wave around these documents saying everyone agrees to participate. You know what counts as agreement being born on a colony with outstanding reparation payments. Existing while human in contested space. Having the audacity to survive the war without proper documentation. The warning lights multiplied. Noah's practiced eye caught the telltale signs of a coordinated trace. Not just random algorithm enforcement. Someone with serious resources wanted to find him. So to whoever's running this grotesque meat market in formal wear. Noah spread his arms wide. I volunteer as tribute. Put me in your lottery, I dare you. At least when I mock your face on galactic broadcast. I'll be doing it as family. He reached for the kill switch, ready to cut the feed and disappear into Aurelia's Byzantine maintenance tunnels. His hand never made it. The world exploded in white light and harmonics that made his teeth ache. When vision returned, Noah found himself surrounded by Cathari Marines in full ceremonial armor. His dingy apartment had been replaced by the polished organic curves of an alien ship. "Noah Hart," the lead Marine said in accented but clear English. "By the authority of the Reconciliation Council and provisions of Treaty Addendum 779, your public discourse regarding the partnership allocation system has been interpreted as willingness to participate. Congratulations. You've been selected." Noah's mouth worked soundlessly for a moment. When words finally came, they were not the clever retort he'd built his career on. "You've got to be kidding me." "The verdant crown awaits," the Marine continued, as if Noah hadn't spoken. "General Threx Callan has expressed personal interest in your case. Transit begins immediately." They fitted him with translation nodes behind his ears and a ceremonial sash that felt more like a collar. The shuttle ride passed in a blur of impossible physics and mounting dread. Noah's mind raced through legal precedents, escape scenarios, and the horrible realization that his throwaway challenge had somehow been taken literally. The verdant crown hung in space like a living thing, its hull surface rippling with bioluminescent patterns. As their shuttle approached, Noah caught glimpses of weapons arrays that could crack moons, elegantly integrated into what looked like cultivated coral growths. The Cathari had turned warfare into an art form, and their flagship was the masterpiece. Inside, the corridors pulsed with gentle light that responded to movement. Noah was hustled through passages that seemed to grow around them, past Cathari crew who watched with expressions he couldn't read. Their faces were almost human, but stretched in wrong directions, with eyes that held too many colors. "Where are we going?" Noah finally managed to ask. "Preparation chamber," his escort replied. "The ceremony begins in 1 hour." "What ceremony?" The Marine's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. "Your wedding, of course." They deposited him in a room that breathed. The walls expanded and contracted slightly, like the inside of some massive lung. Attendants swarmed him, stripping away his cheap clothes and replacing them with robes that cost more than his annual revenue. The fabric responded to his movement, tightening and loosening to maintain perfect fit. "This is insane," Noah muttered as someone adjusted his collar. "I'm a comedian. I make fun of authority figures for a living. I can't marry into a military dynasty." "You expressed willingness," one attendant said, her Cathari accent turning the words into music. "The lottery's consent protocols are quite clear." "I was being sarcastic." "Sarcasm is not recognized as legal exemption under Treaty Addendum 779. Noah wanted to scream. Instead, he forced himself to breathe, to think. He'd built a career on thinking fast and talking faster. There had to be an angle here, some way to turn this farce to his advantage. A door dilated open, and General Threx Callan entered. The Cathari commander stood 8 feet tall, his ceremonial armor making him seem even larger. Age had weathered his features into something like carved stone, and his eyes held the weight of battles Noah had only read about. This was the being who'd held the line at Kepler Station, who'd turned the tide at the siege of New Kyoto. "Noah Hart," the general said. His voice rumbled like distant thunder. "I've watched your broadcasts." Noah straightened, trying to project confidence he didn't feel. "I'm honored, I think. Look, General, there's been a misunderstanding. My show, it's satire. I didn't actually mean—" "You meant every word," Threx interrupted. "Your analysis of the lottery's economic infrastructure was particularly astute. Few humans have grasped how deeply the system's corruption runs." That brought Noah up short. "You agree with me?" "I am a soldier, Mr. Hart. I follow orders. But I am not blind." The general moved to a viewport showing stars. "The lottery was meant to heal wounds. Instead, it has become another form of warfare, waged with contracts instead of plasma cannons." Then why am I here? Because you volunteered. A click of mandibles that might have been amusement. And because my offspring requires a spouse who understands the game being played. Your offspring, Noah's voice cracked slightly. Rhea, my tactical advisor and only surviving child. Threx turned from the viewport. She has refused 17 potential matches. The Reconciliation Council grows impatient. Your dramatic arrival provides an elegant solution. I provide nothing. I don't consent to this. Then say so during the ceremony. The general's expression was unreadable. Before the entire galaxy. Make your grand gesture. Mr. Hart, tell them all what you think of their lottery. Noah opened his mouth, then closed it. The trap was obvious now. If he refused publicly, he'd be admitting his challenge was empty posturing. His credibility would evaporate. But if he went through with it... Time grows short, Threx said, moving toward the door. Rhea waits in the ceremonial chamber, as do approximately 2 billion viewers across the feed networks. 2 billion! Your selection was quite dramatic. The betting pools alone have generated significant interest. The door began to dilate. Choose quickly. Mr. Hart, history rarely offers such perfect stages. Left alone, Noah stared at his reflection in the breathing walls. The ceremonial robes made him look like someone important. Someone who belonged in halls of power instead of broadcasting from a converted maintenance closet. It was a lie, of course. But then, his whole career was built on making lies visible by wrapping them in laughter. An idea began to form, dangerous, potentially catastrophic, but with just enough audacity to match the situation. When the attendants returned, Noah was smiling. The ceremonial chamber took his breath away. A vast space that seemed to exist partially outside normal physics, with gravity that pulled in artistic directions and air that tasted like starlight. Thousands of beings filled tiered galleries that curved impossibly upward, and hovering camera drones captured every angle for the hungry networks. At the chamber's heart stood Rhea Callan. She was nothing like Noah had expected. Where her father was stone, she was flowing water. Her features held a dancer's grace, and her ceremonial armor seemed designed for movement rather than protection. When their eyes met, he saw intelligence that cut like a blade and something else. Amusement, resignation, hope. The officiant, a Cathari elder, whose robes contained their own weather systems, began the ceremony with words that the translation nodes converted into poetry. Noah barely heard them. His mind was racing through possibilities, calculating angles and impacts. Then came the moment of consent. Noah, heart of Earth, the officiant intoned. Do you enter this union freely, without reservation or external compulsion? Every eye in the galaxy turned to him. Noah felt the weight of expectation, the hunger for drama or scandal, or both. He stepped forward, and the ceremonial robes swirled around him like liquid dignity. I consent, he said clearly, and felt the ripple of surprise through the audience. If she consents. And only if everyone watching understands they have the same right to refuse. Every lottery winner, every debt-bonded spouse, every person traded like cargo for someone else's peace. You can say no. You can opt out. The contracts are lying to you. The chamber erupted, shouts in a dozen languages. The whine of security shields activating, camera drones jockeying for better angles. Through it all, Noah kept his eyes on Rhea. She hadn't moved, but something in her posture had shifted. Interesting, she said, her voice carrying despite the chaos. And if I refuse? Then we're both free to walk away, Noah replied. That's what consent means. The general watched from his position of honor, and Noah could have sworn he saw approval in those ancient eyes. The officiant looked lost, clearly lacking protocols for this scenario. Rhea stepped forward. I consent to explore compatibility. with the understanding that either party may withdraw at any time without penalty or obligation. Is this acceptable? Noah found himself grinning. More than acceptable, it's revolutionary. Then let us revolutionize together. She offered her hand, and Noah took it. The crowd's roar became deafening. Some cheered, some cursed, but all witnessed. The networks would replay this moment for cycles to come, dissecting every word and gesture. Noah had turned their trap into a platform, their ceremony into a manifesto. As they stood hand in hand, Rhea leaned close enough to whisper, "You realize you've painted a target on your back, visible from orbit." "I'm a comedian," Noah whispered back. "I've been insulting powerful people for years. This is just a larger audience. The consequences here involve more than canceled shows and death threats. Mr. Hart, please, we're married now. Call me Noah." He squeezed her hand gently. "And I'm counting on those consequences. Every attack proves my point. Every retaliation exposes the system. You're either very brave or very stupid. Professional comedians are usually both." The efficient, rallying admirably, continued with modified ceremonies. Papers were signed, bonds were registered, and Noah Hart officially became son-in-law to the most decorated military commander in Cathari space. The crowd gradually settled, though the energy remained electric. During the reception, Noah worked the room like he was hosting the galaxy's strangest talk show. He asked lottery winners about their experiences, challenged officials about consent procedures, and made sure every conversation happened within range of a camera drone. Rhea moved with him, offering context and correction, her tactical mind clearly appreciating his strategy. "You're building a case," she observed during a brief quiet moment. "I'm building a coalition," Noah corrected. "Your father was right. The lottery has become another form of warfare. I just changed the battlefield. From military to media, from force to choice. Watch what happens when people realize they can refuse." Their first night together was spent in Rhea's strategic planning chamber, surrounded by holographic displays and tactical readouts. Noah had expected awkwardness, but instead found easy collaboration. She understood systems, and he understood people. Together, they began mapping the lottery's true structure. "Here," Rhea highlighted a shipping route. "Medical supplies from human colonies to Cathari worlds. But look at the mass discrepancies." Noah leaned in, studying the data. "They're shipping more than medicine. Significantly more. And always with lottery winner transfers." Her fingers danced through data streams. "My father has suspected this for months. But military intelligence has no jurisdiction over civilian trade agreements. But a curious son-in-law with a media platform might investigate." "Precisely." She turned to face him fully. "Why did you really consent? You could have refused and maintained your stance." Noah considered lying, decided against it. "Because refusing would have been safe, expected. This," he gestured at the displays around them, "this is dangerous, and dangerous gets attention." "You're using me." "I'm using the situation." "There's a difference." He met her eyes steadily. "Just like you're using me to investigate what your father can't touch officially. The question is whether we're honest about it." Rhea studied him for a long moment. "You're not what I expected from a human comedian." "You're not what I expected from a general's daughter. Shall we disappoint expectations together?" "That sounds like the beginning of an interesting partnership." They worked through the night, building databases and tracking connections. Noah's contacts in the underground media networks proved invaluable, while Rhea's military clearance opened doors he couldn't have imagined. By dawn, they had enough evidence to suggest the lottery masked a vast human trafficking operation. "We need more than suggestions," Rhea said, fatigue evident in her voice. "We need proof that will stand in tribunal." Or we need public opinion to make tribunals irrelevant, Noah countered. If enough people refuse to participate, the system collapses regardless of legal structure. You think in terms of movements. I think in terms of battles. Maybe we need both. A soft chime indicated incoming priority communications. Ria's expression darkened as she read. 3 lottery winners withdrew consent this morning, citing your speech. The Reconciliation Council is not pleased. Good. Displeasure means we're having an impact. It also means they'll respond. The lottery generates significant revenue for multiple sectors. They won't let you dismantle it with pretty words. Noah stretched, joints popping from hours of hunched analysis. Then we'd better move fast. I need to restart my show, this time with insider access. You need to leverage your military connections for protection and information. Together, we make enough noise that shutting us up becomes impossible. You're proposing war. I'm proposing comedy with teeth. Your father called the lottery another form of warfare. I'm just choosing weapons that make people laugh while they think. Ria stood, moving to the chamber's viewport. The verdant crown was approaching Aurelia Spindle, returning to the neutral zone where everything and nothing was permitted. My father took considerable risk arranging this match. If we fail, it won't just be our lives at stake. Then we don't fail. Noah joined her at the viewport. Your people value honor and strategy. Mine value stubbornness and bad jokes. Combined, we might actually win this thing. You're very confident for someone who was kidnapped in his own apartment 18 hours ago. Comedy is all about timing. And right now, Noah grinned at his reflection in the transparent aluminum. The timing is perfect. As the verdant crown docked at Aurelia Spindle, Noah felt the weight of what he'd started settling on his shoulders. He'd transformed from observer to participant, from commentator to catalyst. 2 billion people had watched him demand real consent. Now, he had to deliver on that promise. His communication implant chimed with incoming messages, offers of support, death threats, interview requests, and buried among them, something that made his blood run cold. A single line of text from an encrypted source. Your sister says hello. Let's discuss her future. S.K. Noah's hands clenched involuntarily. He'd been so focused on the grand gesture. He'd forgotten the lottery's victims had faces and names, including Maya, who'd vanished into the system 2 years ago. Bad news, Ria asked, noticing his tension. Personal stakes, Noah replied. Someone just reminded me this isn't just about principles. It never is. She placed a hand on his shoulder, the gesture surprisingly gentle. But personal stakes make us fight harder. As they prepared to disembark, Noah made a mental list of everything they'd need. Media platforms, legal expertise, security protocols, and most importantly, stories from lottery survivors. The system thrived in shadow and silence. He intended to drag it into blazing light and deafening noise. Ready? Ria asked as the docking clamps engaged. Not even slightly, Noah admitted. But that's never stopped me before. They walked down the boarding ramp together, officially wed, and unofficially at war with one of the most profitable enterprises in known space. Camera drones swarmed them immediately, and Noah felt the familiar thrill of performance anxiety mixing with purpose. Mr. Hart, how does it feel to be married to Cathari royalty? Ria, will you be taking your husband's name? General Threx, do you approve of your son-in-law's radical statements? Noah raised a hand, and the crowd quieted marginally. This was his element, the space where words became weapons and laughter could topple kingdoms. I'll take questions at tomorrow's broadcast of Second Breakfast, streaming live from Studio 7 in the Spindles Media District. Fair warning, I'll be discussing consent, coercion, and why the lottery is afraid of both. Bring popcorn. It's going to be educational. He felt Ria's tactical approval at the move. Announce the next battle publicly. make it impossible to quietly cancel or relocate, force his opponents to fight in the open or reveal their fear. As they pushed through the crowd, Noah caught sight of a human woman holding a lottery winner's sash like a shackle. Her eyes met his for just a moment, full of desperate hope. He nodded slightly, a promise made in gesture if not words. The war for consent had begun with a joke and a ceremony. Now came the harder part, winning it one story, one refusal, one choice at a time. "So," Rhea said as they finally reached secure transport. "Husband of mine, where do we start?" Noah pulled up his contact lists, already composing messages to every underground journalist and rogue broadcaster he knew. "We start by making some noise. Then we see who comes to shut us up. And then we get really loud." The transport lifted off, carrying them into the neon maze of Aurelia Spindle. Behind them, the verdant crown loomed like a guardian or threat, depending on perspective. Ahead lay a battle fought with words and waves, where victory meant freedom and defeat meant something worse than death silence. Noah Hart had mocked the lottery and woken up married. Now he had to prove that consent was more than a word and choice, more than an illusion. The galaxy was watching, and he'd be damned if he'd disappoint them. The revolution would be televised, and it would have commercial breaks. Studio 7 buzzed with controlled chaos. Noah had never seen his ramshackle broadcast setup transformed into something resembling actual production value. Cathari tech specialists worked alongside human media pirates, creating a hybrid system that could punch through any censorship wall in known space. 5 minutes to air, Amara Saul announced, her diplomatic training evident even in the simple time check. The junior envoy had arrived that morning with a diplomatic pouch and a resignation letter, choosing sides with characteristic precision. Her dark skin gleamed under the studio lights as she adjusted Noah's collar. "Remember, you're not just a comedian anymore. You're the general's son-in-law. Every word carries weight." "Pressure makes diamonds," Noah replied, testing his microphone. "Or crushes carbon into paste. Let's find out which." Rhea stood by the security station, coordinating with someone Noah couldn't see. Her tactical mind had transformed the studio into a fortress, with shield generators humming at frequencies that made his teeth ache and escape routes mapped to the centimeter. She caught his eye and nodded once. "Ready." The countdown began. Noah felt the familiar pre-show energy, but amplified by stakes that made his old broadcasts look like children's games. Somewhere in the galaxy, his sister Maya might be watching, if she was still capable of watching anything. Good morning, afternoon, or existential crisis, depending on your time zone. Noah began as the cameras went live. "Welcome to the resurrection of Second Breakfast, now with 100% more alien marriage and 200% more death threats. I'm Noah Hart, and if you're wondering about the Cathari security detail, yes, I did marry up." The viewer count climbed exponentially. 50,000, 300,000, a million. Let's address the elephant in the room, or rather, the lottery in the galaxy. Noah pulled up holographic displays showing shipping manifests and financial records. "Since yesterday's ceremony, I've received approximately 8,000 messages. Most fall into 3 categories: death threats, marriage proposals, and my personal favorite, confused death threat marriage proposals." He let the laughter land before continuing. "But buried in that avalanche of emotion were stories. Real stories from lottery winners who wanted someone to listen. With their permission, I'm going to share a few." The first testimony appeared on screen. Audio, only to protect identity. "I was selected 3 months ago," a woman's voice said, processed to prevent recognition, but maintaining emotional resonance. "My colony owed 17 million credits in reparation payments. The lottery agent said I'd be saving thousands of lives. What he didn't say was that my husband already had 6 other wives, all human, all from indebted colonies. We're not wives. We're collection items. Noah let the silence breathe before speaking. Collection items, not partners, not even people. Things to be acquired and displayed. He pulled up another file. This comes from a Cathari selected for a human governor. Listen. My clan's honor debt stretched back generations. A masculine voice said through the processors. The lottery promised resolution, restoration of standing. Instead, I became entertainment for colonial administrators who find my accent amusing. They make me recite poetry at parties while guests laugh. I am a warrior reduced to a pet. The lottery doesn't discriminate, Noah said, his voice hardening. It degrades everyone equally. Human, Cathari, any species desperate enough to have debts that can be leveraged into flesh. A warning light flashed. Rhea's hand moved to her weapon, but Noah shook his head slightly. Not yet. Now, some of you are thinking, but Noah, you agreed to marry. You're part of the system now. And you're right. I am inside the system, which gives me access to things like this. He gestured, and classified shipping records filled the display. These are from last night's investigation. Every lottery transfer includes cultural goods that mass significantly more than reported. We traced 3 shipments. Want to guess what cultural goods require cryogenic storage? The studio door exploded inward. Sabine Cade entered like she owned the air itself, flanked by security contractors whose weapons hummed with barely contained violence. The human logistics magnate wore a suit that cost more than most colonies' annual budgets. Her smile, sharp as molecular wire. Mr. Hart, she purred, ignoring the Cathari weapons, suddenly pointed her direction. I thought we should talk. Privately. Privacy is dead. Sabine. May I call you Sabine? Noah didn't move from his desk. Everyone, meet Sabine Cade, CEO of Consolidated Supply Solutions and, according to these shipping manifests, the woman who signs off on lottery transfers. Wave to the viewers. Sabine, all 12 million of them. Her smile flickered for just a moment. You're playing a dangerous game. I'm not playing. Noah pulled up more files. Shipment 77 Alpha, last Tuesday. Listed as textiles and cultural artifacts. Actual contents, 16 lottery winners in medical stasis. Bound for a mining consortium in the outer reach. Your signature, your shipping codes. Those are classified documents. Possessing them is evidence. The word you're looking for is evidence. Noah stood, matching her stance. But please, tell 12 million viewers why lottery winners need to be shipped in cryo. Take your time. We have the whole segment. Cade's security shifted forward. Rhea's team matched them. The studio became a powder keg, waiting for a spark. Perhaps, a new voice interrupted, we could all benefit from calm discussion. Torvak entered with fluid grace. The Cathari minister's ceremonial robes creating their own microclimate. Where Cade was sharp edges, he was flowing water, all diplomatic smiles and predator patience. Minister Vach, Noah said brightly. What perfect timing. I was just about to discuss your financial connections to the lottery system. Pull up a chair. Let's chat about percentages and people. Your broadcast threatens the peace, Mr. Hart. Vach's words carried the weight of centuries of political maneuvering. Surely you understand the delicate balance. I understand you take 30% off every lottery transaction processed through Cathari space. Noah interrupted. I understand that peace built on human trafficking isn't peace. And I understand that both of you showing up here, together, means we're onto something that scares you. He turned back to the cameras. Ladies, gentlemen, and beings of all configurations, Witness the lottery's true face. Not bureaucrats managing cultural exchange, but profiteers protecting revenue streams. The question is, what are you going to do about it? You're going to stop this broadcast, Cade said flatly. Now! Or what you'll shoot me on live feed. Noah laughed. Please do. Nothing validates my point quite like martyrdom in high definition. We have other leverage, she said softly. Maya sends her regards. By the way, she's quite comfortable in her current position. It would be a shame if that changed. The temperature in the room dropped several degrees. Noah felt Rhea tense, saw Amara's hand drift toward a concealed weapon, but he forced himself to remain steady, even as rage built behind his sternum. Thank you, he said quietly. You just confirmed on live broadcast that you're holding my sister. That's kidnapping. Sabine. Even in neutral space. That's a capital crime. I confirmed nothing. I simply noted that a lottery winner is comfortable. Her smile was winter incarnate. Interpretation is such a subjective thing. Not when I have this. Noah pulled up another display. Maya Hart's lottery registration. Signed by you. Processed by Minister Vac. Shipped to coordinates that don't match any registered colony. She disappeared into your system, and you just admitted knowledge of her whereabouts. Vac stepped forward, trying to salvage the situation. These accusations are serious. Mr. Hart, perhaps we should discuss them through proper channels. The proper channels are owned by you. Noah's control finally cracked. Every appeal board, every regulatory committee, every supposed oversight organization takes money from the lottery system. The only court that matters now is public opinion, and you just gave them Exhibit A. An alert chimed. Paxir's voice came through the comm system, dry as desert wind. Noah, we have incoming. Multiple security forces converging on studio position. Apparently someone claims you're harboring stolen classified material. How convenient, Noah muttered. He looked at Cade and Vec. Get out, now, before my wife decides diplomatic immunity doesn't apply to slave traders? This isn't over, Cade warned. You're right. It's just beginning. Noah gestured to the cameras. Everyone watching, remember these faces. Remember their names. And remember that they came here to threaten and silence. That's what the lottery does to opposition. The profiteers left, taking their muscle with them. Noah slumped into his chair, adrenaline crash making his hands shake. Rhea was beside him instantly, her presence steady as stone. They confirmed Maya's alive, she said quietly. And confirmed they're holding her as leverage. Noah rubbed his face. I knew this was dangerous. I didn't think about who else they could hurt. We'll find her, Amara interjected, already working her diplomatic contacts. Now that we know she's in the system, we can trace. Later, Rhea interrupted. You're still broadcasting. Noah looked at the cameras, at the viewer count now approaching 20 million. His personal crisis had become public drama, which meant it could become public action. You just saw what happens when you challenge the lottery, he said, finding his voice again. They come with threats and lawyers, with violence wrapped in velvet. But they also reveal themselves. Every threat proves the system's corruption. Every attempt to silence proves we're speaking truth. He stood, energy returning. So here's what we're doing. Tomorrow, Rhea and I are hosting the first Consent Carnival, right here on Aurelia Spindle. Free legal consultation for lottery winners. Uncoupling services for those who want out. And most importantly, stories. Your stories, told in your words, where the galaxy can hear. They'll try to stop us, he continued. They'll claim we're disrupting commerce, threatening security, undermining peace. But we're not the ones shipping people in cryopods. We're not the ones using debt as chains. We're just saying the one word that terrifies them, no. He looked directly at camera one. To those profiting from the lottery, you revealed your hand today. We know you're watching. We know you're worried. Good. To everyone else tomorrow, noon local time, Starfall Plaza. Bring your stories. Bring your anger. Bring your hope. Let's show them what consent actually looks like. The broadcast ended, but the war had just escalated. Noah turned to find his makeshift command team already in planning mode. Amara coordinated with legal advocates. Paxir ran security scenarios. And Rhea studied tactical displays with the intensity of someone planning a major offensive. Galahad's offering support, Paxir reported. Says he's tired of translating procurement orders that smell like people. Galahad, Noah asked. Civic AI runs most of Aurelia's translation services. Paxir's mandibles clicked with amusement. Apparently, he's developed opinions about his work assignments. Fascinating what happens when artificial intelligence develops a conscience. We'll need all the help we can get. Rhea pulled up a map of Starfall Plaza. This location is defensible but exposed. If security forces move to shut us down, they won't, Amara interrupted. I've been in touch with the diplomatic corps. There's more support than expected. Junior staff are tired of processing lottery paperwork. Some are willing to provide coverage. Bureaucratic rebellion, Noah mused. I love it. Don't celebrate yet, Rhea warned. Kate and Vac will respond. We've threatened their income and exposed their methods. They'll hit back hard. Then we hit harder. Noah moved to the window, looking out at Aurelia's controlled chaos. Every system has a breaking point. The lottery survives because people believe it's inevitable, that the debt must be paid. We're going to show them another way. Through a carnival, Paxir's tone suggested skepticism. Through joy, Noah corrected. The lottery is grief industrialized. We counter with celebration. Make choosing freedom feel like victory, not loss. His comm unit chimed. Unknown sender. Encrypted beyond even Aurelia's paranoid standards. Noah opened it cautiously. If you want to find your sister, look for the gardens that grow in void. Some flowers bloom best in artificial light. No signature, but a set of coordinates attached. Trap, Rhea asked, reading over his shoulder. Probably, but trap doesn't mean wrong information. Noah forwarded the data to Paxir. Can you trace these coordinates? Already on it. Paxir's fingers danced across interfaces. Interesting. They point to a shipping hub in dead space. Not on any official registry, but energy signatures suggest significant activity. The kind of place you'd hide people you don't want found, Amara added quietly. Noah made a decision. We stick to tomorrow's plan. The carnival happens. But we also send reconnaissance to those coordinates. Quietly. I'll handle it, Rhea said. I have assets who specialize in quiet. The team dispersed to their preparations, leaving Noah and Rhea alone in the studio. The adrenaline was fading, leaving exhaustion and the weight of what they'd started. You did well, Rhea said finally, turning their ambush into evidence. My father would approve of the tactical reversal. Your father probably didn't expect his son-in-law to start a revolution. On the contrary, I think he counted on it. She moved closer, studying him with those impossible eyes. The question is whether we survive it. Worried about your husband. Concerned about my partner. The distinction felt important. Noah, what we're building here, it's more than just resistance. It's a new paradigm. That makes us targets for everyone invested in the old system. I know. He met her gaze steadily. But the alternative is letting them win. Letting Maya and thousands like her disappear into shipping manifests. I can't do that. Neither can I. She touched his hand briefly, the gesture carrying surprising warmth. Whatever else this marriage is, we chose it. That matters. They worked through the night, transforming grief into strategy. By dawn, Starfall Plaza had become a construction site. Pavilions rose like promises, each one dedicated to a different aspect of consent and freedom. The uncoupling booths Rhea designed looked like flowers opening to light. Amara's legal stations bristled with documents that could cut chains. Paxir's security network turned the entire plaza into a fortress disguised as a festival. And through it all, Galahad coordinated, his translation services ensuring every word would reach every ear in every language. The AI's dry humor appeared in unexpected places, safety signs that made people smile, directions that included commentary on the lottery's logical failures. "You know," Noah said as they surveyed the preparation, "this might actually work." "Define work," Rhea countered. "Change everything. Make the lottery impossible to maintain. Find my sister. Stay alive long enough to enjoy victory." "Ambitious," she almost smiled. "I prefer specific objectives to grand dreams." "Then, here's specific tomorrow. We make choosing freedom more attractive than accepting chains. We give people tools and courage and community. We turn consent from a legal concept into a living practice. And if Cade's forces try to shut us down, then we do it anyway, on camera. Let the galaxy see what the lottery system does to joy." The sun began to rise over Aurelia Spindle, painting the artificial sky in shades of possibility, somewhere in the void. Maya might be watching, somewhere in the networks. Allies were declaring themselves, somewhere in boardrooms. Profiteers were calculating the cost of suppression versus the price of change. Noah Hart had started this journey as a comedian mocking authority. He was becoming something more: a catalyst, a symbol, maybe even a leader. The transformation felt uncomfortable, like wearing clothes tailored for someone else. But with Rhea beside him and purpose ahead, he was learning to grow into the role. Tomorrow would bring the carnival, and with it, the next phase of a revolution that started with a joke and might end with freedom or disaster. But as Noah had learned in his years of making people laugh at power, the best jokes were always the dangerous ones. The lottery had made him a son-in-law. He was going to make them regret it. Starfall Plaza transformed into something unprecedented. What had been a sterile commercial hub became a living testament to choice. The morning sun caught on silk banners that rippled with messages in a dozen languages. All variations on a theme: your consent matters, your choice is valid, you are not alone. Noah stood at the plaza's heart, watching thousands gather. They came in waves: lottery winners, still wearing their binding sashes. Families torn apart by the system. Activists who'd been fighting in shadows. And the simply curious, drawn by spectacle. The crowd's energy felt electric, dangerous, hopeful. Larger turnout than projected, Rhea observed, her tactical mind calculating crowd flows and exit strategies. She wore civilian clothes for the first time since their wedding, but her bearing remained military. "Security forces are maintaining distance. For now, they're waiting to see if we implode on our own," Noah replied. His stomach churned with pre-performance nerves, multiplied by revolutionary stakes. "Smart money says we riot. They sweep in as peacekeepers. Carnival ends in arrests and tragedy. Then we disappoint the smart money." Amara's voice crackled through their earpieces. "Legal stations are operational. We've already processed 47 uncoupling requests. Galahad's translation protocols are flawless. Every document is airtight in all jurisdictions." 47 families choosing freedom," Noah murmured. "It's starting." A young woman approached. Lottery sash wound tight enough to leave marks. Her eyes held the particular exhaustion of someone who'd been property too long. "Are you Noah Hart?" "Guilty as charged." "And you are—" "Kira Okonkwo. I was matched to a mining consortium executive. 3 years. She pulled documentation from her bag with shaking hands. "I heard your broadcast. Is it true? Can I really just leave?" Noah guided her gently toward Amara's station. Not just leave. Choose. There's a difference. Amara will walk you through the process. Make sure you're protected legally and financially. The consortium can't touch you here. They said I owed too much, that my family— Debt doesn't own you. Rhea interrupted, her voice carrying surprising warmth. Whatever they told you, however they justified it, you are not property. You never were. Kira's tears came suddenly, violently. 3 years of suppressed emotion breaking free. Noah caught Rhea's eye, saw his own fury reflected there. Every story like Kira's fed the fire driving them forward. The morning progressed in controlled chaos. Paxir's security network deflected 3 attempts at disruption lottery agents trying to reclaim investments, a cyber attack on Galahad's translation matrix, and someone's ill-advised attempt to release sleep gas. Each failure broadcast live, turning suppression into advertisement. We're trending across all networks, Galahad announced through the plaza's speakers, his synthesized voice carrying dry amusement. The lottery consortium's stock prices are experiencing what financial analysts call catastrophic reality adjustment. I believe humans would simply say tanking. Noah took the main stage as noon approached. The crowd pressed close, a sea of faces representing every world touched by the lottery's reach. He felt the weight of their hope like atmosphere on a heavy gravity world. Thank you for coming, he began, his voice carrying across the plaza through Galahad's perfect acoustic management. Thank you for choosing courage over comfort, community over isolation. Every person here represents a crack in the lottery's foundation. He gestured to the uncoupling stations. In 3 hours, we've processed 212 consensual separations. 212 people who've decided their freedom matters more than someone else's investment portfolio. That's not protest. That's power. The crowd's energy surged. Someone started a chant in Cathari that Galahad translated in real time. Choice is sacred. Consent is strength. But we're not just here to break chains, Noah continued. We're here to build something better. Every station in this plaza offers tools, legal advocacy, financial counseling, trauma support, job placement. The lottery thrives on isolation. We counter with connection. A disturbance at the plaza's edge caught his attention. Sabine Cade's security forces, moving in formation. Noah's pulse spiked, but he kept his voice steady. Looks like we have visitors. Everyone remember we are peaceful. We are legal. We are unafraid. Document everything. Let them show the galaxy who needs force to maintain their system. The security forces stopped at the plaza's perimeter, facing off against Paxir's defensive line. The tension stretched taut enough to sing. Then, unexpectedly, one of Cade's mercenaries stepped forward and removed his helmet. My daughter's in the lottery, he announced, his voice carrying across the sudden silence. Matched to some corporation executive who collects wives like trophies. I'm done protecting the people who sell our children. He dropped his weapon and crossed into the plaza. The crowd parted, then embraced him. His unit watched, frozen by the defection. Then another followed, and another. The security line crumbled as conscience overcame contract. Noah felt Rhea's hand on his shoulder, grounding him as the implications hit. The system's guardians are choosing sides, she murmured. This is how empires fall, not in grand battles, but in individual decisions. The carnival continued with renewed energy. Stories poured forth like water through a broken dam. A Cathari warrior spoke of being reduced to ornamental status in a human household. A human engineer described 5 years as cultural liaison, which translated to imprisoned concubine. Each testimony stripped away the lottery's veneer of legitimacy. Then the weather changed. It started as a shift in air pressure. The controlled atmosphere of Aurelia Spindle, fluctuating in ways that made everyone's ears pop. Storm clouds gathered with impossible speed in the artificial sky. Galahad's voice carried new urgency. Alert weather control systems are experiencing cascading failures. This appears to be deliberate sabotage. Recommend immediate shelter protocols. They're going to wash us out, Noah realized. Create a crisis, force evacuation, claim the carnival was a public safety hazard. Not if we turn crisis into opportunity. Rhea was already moving, her military training taking over. Paxir, deploy emergency shelters. Amara, prioritize processing for anyone in immediate danger. Noah, I know. He was already heading for the main stage. Keep broadcasting. The storm hit with calculated fury. Rain that fell sideways. Wind that sought every gap in shelter. Lightning that painted the plaza in stroboscopic horror. But the crowd didn't scatter. They huddled together, sharing protection, refusing to be driven away. Noah stood in the tempest's heart, water streaming down his face. Galahad systems fighting to maintain audio clarity. This is what they do, he shouted over the storm. When words fail, when law fails, when conscience fails, they resort to force, but we're still here. A hand grabbed his arm. Rhea, soaked through but steady as stone. Aid shuttles, she said urgently. The storm's hitting the refugee sectors hard. People will die if... Then we go. The decision came instantly. We show them what choosing community looks like. Within minutes, they were airborne. 3 shuttles loaded with emergency supplies, medical equipment, and volunteers from the carnival crowd. The storm fought them every meter. Ion discharges making instruments scream warnings. Noah gripped his seat as Rhea piloted with mechanical precision through chaos that would have grounded any sane person. Why are you smiling? She asked, catching his expression in the reflection of her instruments. Because this is insane, Noah replied. We're flying medical supplies through an artificial hurricane to save people the lottery system considers expendable. My life used to make sense. And now I'm married to a tactical genius, fighting corporate slavers, and apparently developing a hero complex. He laughed, wild and free. I think I prefer it. They broke through the storm wall into relative calm. Below, the refugee sector sprawled in prefab misery. The storm had torn through inadequate shelters, leaving devastation that looked deliberate in its precision. Noah's humor died as he saw bodies pulled from wreckage. Land there. He pointed to a partially collapsed medical center. They'll need supplies most. The next hours blurred into desperate action. Noah had never thought of himself as particularly brave or competent in crisis. He was a comedian, a voice in the dark making people laugh. But facing immediate need, he found reserves he didn't know existed. He hauled supplies through ankle-deep water, held pressure on wounds while medics worked, translated between species with Galahad's help when official translators failed. And through it all, they streamed. Every act of aid broadcast to the galaxy, showing lottery winners and carnival volunteers saving lives, while the system's guardians manufactured crisis. Look at them, a refugee whispered, pointing at Rhea as she coordinated rescue efforts with military efficiency. The general's daughter, here in the mud with us. She's more than that, Noah replied, watching his wife command respect through action rather than rank. She's choosing to be here. We all are. A child tugged at his sodden sleeve. Cathari. Young enough that her species' natural armor hadn't fully developed. Are you the funny man from the broadcasts? That's me, though I'm not feeling very funny right now. My mother says you're helping people leave bad marriages. Is that true? Noah knelt to her level. It's true. No one should be forced to stay where they're not safe or happy. Could you help my mother? She cries when she thinks I'm sleeping. The weight of systematic cruelty hit fresh. How many children watch their parents disappear into themselves, crushed by bonds they never chose? Noah guided the child to a volunteer, made note of her mother's name for follow-up. The carnival was just the beginning. The real work would take years. Hardipaxir's voice crackled through comms. We have a situation. Cade's people grabbed 12 lottery winners during the storm. Enforcement of breach of contract. They're being held at Processing Station 9. Noah found Rhea immediately. We have to... I know. She was already moving toward their shuttle. But this is escalation. Open rescue means open war. Then we escalate. Noah followed her. Decision crystallizing. They want to make this about force. Let's show them what force looks like when it serves justice. The flight to Processing Station 9 took 17 minutes that felt like hours. Noah used the time to coordinate with Amara and the legal network, ensuring every action would be documented and defensible. Rhea contacted her father's old unit, calling in favors and loyalties. You realize this changes everything, she said, as the station came into view. No more pretense of civil discourse. After this, we're rebels. We always were. We just had better manners about it. Noah checked the charge on a weapon he barely knew how to use. Besides, rebellion sounds more honest than revolution, less pretentious. You're frightened. Terrified, you... The same. She met his eyes. But fear clarifies purpose. We do this because the alternative is unconscionable. Processing Station 9 squatted like a metal tumor on Aurelia's superstructure. Corporate security, not official forces. Legal gray zones where contracts mattered more than conscience. Noah felt his anger crystallize into something cold and useful. Galahad, can you access their systems? Already attempting infiltration, their security is adequate. For humans, give me 90 seconds. Those 90 seconds stretched elastic. Then doors opened, alarms failed to sound, and Noah's makeshift rescue team moved with purpose. They found the 12 lottery winners in holding cells, some showing signs of aggressive negotiation. Contract Enforcement Division, one prisoner explained through split lips. They wanted us to publicly recant. Say the carnival coerced us. Did anyone break? No, we've been property before. We know how to endure. Noah felt fresh rage at the casual acknowledgement of systematic abuse. But rage could wait. Now was for action. They moved quickly, professionally, Rhea's tactical guidance turning amateurs into effective operatives. In and out in 4 minutes, leaving confusion and disabled systems in their wake. But as they lifted off, Noah saw the trap. Media drones swarmed their shuttle, broadcasting their violent raid on legal detention facility. The narrative was already spinning terrorists attacking legitimate business operations. They played us, he said quietly. No. Rhea's voice carried certainty. They revealed themselves. Legal detention facility. They just admitted to imprisoning people for changing their minds. That's not enforcement. That's kidnapping. She was right. By the time they reached the plaza, the story had evolved. The rescued lottery winners gave testimony, showing injuries and describing coercion. Public opinion shifted like tide. The phrase, legal detention facility, became synonymous with corporate prison. Stock prices didn't just tank, they cratered. The storm passed as suddenly as it came, leaving Starfall Plaza waterlogged but unbroken. The carnival continued with grim determination. By evening, they'd processed over 500 uncouplings, established 3 permanent support centers, and fundamentally changed the conversation around the lottery. Noah stood with Rhea on the plaza's edge, watching sunset paint the artificial sky in impossible colors. His whole body ached. His voice was nearly gone, and he'd never felt more alive. We did it, he said, wonder in his voice. We actually started something. Started, yes. Finishing will be harder. She leaned against him slightly, a gesture of trust that meant more than grand declarations. Cade won't accept defeat, neither will Torvak. They have too much invested. Then we keep pushing. More carnivals, more planets, more pressure until the system breaks. And your sister? Noah pulled up the mysterious coordinates again. Tomorrow, we investigate. Tonight. He gestured at the plaza, where exhausted volunteers celebrated impossible victory. Tonight, we've earned a moment of hope. Amara approached with updated figures. 537 legal uncouplings. 43 corporate security personnel resigned. 12 major media outlets calling for lottery reform. And approximately 2 million credits in donations for survivor support. You forgot something, Paxier added, joining them. One weather control system successfully sued for damages by very creative legal interpretation. Galahad's idea. Apparently, artificial storms violate consumer protection laws. Even Rhea smiled at that. The AI's evolution from translator to revolutionary legal theorist marked another crack in the system's facade. When artificial intelligences developed moral positions, the old order's days were numbered. Your speech is tomorrow, Rhea reminded Noah. The Peace Summit expects the General's son-in-law to attend. They probably assume you'll be chastened by today's violence. Then, they'll be disappointed. Noah felt tomorrow's weight settling on his shoulders. We turned their wedding trap into platform. Now, we turn their summit into tribunal. They spent the evening among their people, and they were their people now. This strange coalition of survivors and supporters. Noah listened to more stories, each one fuel for tomorrow's fire. A mother reunited with children she'd been forced to leave. A man discovering his matched partner had also wanted freedom, but never dared voice it. Small victories that meant everything to individuals and built into something larger. Late that night, as the plaza finally quieted, Noah found himself standing where he'd made his first speech. The space felt changed, charged with possibility. Rhea found him there, carrying 2 cups of something hot and stimulating. Can't sleep. Too much in my head. He accepted the drink gratefully. I keep thinking about that little girl, her mother, all the others we haven't reached yet. We will reach them. What we built today doesn't end with sunrise. How are you so certain? She considered the question with characteristic thoughtfulness. Because we changed the conversation. Before today, the lottery was unfortunate but necessary. Now it's revealed as commerce in human misery. That revelation doesn't fade. You've changed too, Noah observed. The warrior who wouldn't risk vulnerability is standing in a public plaza at midnight, sharing feelings with her fake husband. Tactical husband, she corrected. And perhaps change is contagious. You've gone from mocking authority to challenging it directly. I still mock it, I just do it with better lawyers now. They stood together, comfortable in shared purpose and growing affection. Tomorrow would bring new battles. The summit would test every skill they'd developed, every alliance they'd forged. But tonight, in a plaza that smelled of rain and revolution, they had each other and the knowledge that change was possible. We should rest, Rhea said eventually. Tomorrow requires clarity. 1 more minute. Noah looked up at Aurelia's artificial stars. I want to remember this feeling. The moment between victory and whatever comes next. She took his hand, a gesture that still surprised him with its naturalness. Then we'll remember together. Above them, the stars continued their programmed dance, indifferent to human struggles. But below, in the plaza where choice became action, revolution took root in waterlogged ground. The lottery had created unwilling bonds. Tomorrow, Noah and Rhea would show the galaxy what willing partnership could accomplish. The carnival was over. The real performance was about to begin. The neutral moon called Kite's Perch hung in space like a forgotten thought, its surface carved with meeting halls that had witnessed centuries of negotiation. Noah stood before a mirror in their assigned quarters, adjusting ceremonial robes that felt like armor made of silk. His reflection looked older than his 28 years, marked by exhaustion and purpose. Stop fidgeting, Rhea said from across the room, where she was reviewing security protocols on a holographic display. You'll wrinkle the fabric. The fabric is self-adjusting. I checked. Noah turned from the mirror. I'm not nervous about the clothes. I'm nervous about reshaping interstellar law, while Cade and Torvak plot our deaths. A reasonable concern. She closed the display and approached him. Her own formal attire, a blend of Cathari military tradition and diplomatic necessity. But consider they're nervous too. The carnival changed the game. Public opinion has momentum. Public opinion is fickle. One manufactured scandal, one convenient tragedy, and we're back to square one. Noah's hands clenched involuntarily. And Maya's still out there, in whatever hidden facility those coordinates point to. Paxir's team confirmed the location. A decommissioned mining platform converted to something else. We'll know more after today. Rhea straightened his collar with practiced efficiency. But first, we survived the summit. A knock interrupted them. Amara entered, her diplomatic credentials gleaming against dark skin, followed by Galahad's mobile interface, a sleek humanoid form that managed to convey dry humor through pure posture. Final preparations complete, Amara reported. We have 47 witness testimonies ready for presentation, financial records tracing lottery profits to weapons trafficking, and legal precedents from 6 different systems supporting our interpretation of consent law. Additionally, Galahad added, his synthesized voice carrying satisfaction, I've completed analysis of the lottery's algorithmic matching system. It's not random. Never was. Selections are based on debt ratios, genetic compatibility for potential offspring, and projected psychological compliance. I have proof. Noah felt his anger crystallize further. Their breeding programs, disguised as cultural exchange. Among other things. Galahad's photoreceptors dimmed in what might have been discussed. Shall I prepare visual aids? I've developed a presentation style that what you might call devastatingly clinical. Do it. Noah moved to the window, looking out at the summit complex below. Delegates from dozens of worlds were gathering, their ships forming a constellation of diplomatic immunity. They want to treat people like commodities. We'll show them the spreadsheets, make them choke on their own efficiency metrics. 5 minutes until transport, Paxir announced through comms. Security sweep complete. 17 assassination prevention measures in place. 18 if you count my personal desire to see this through. Noah laughed despite himself. Your dedication to not letting me die is touching, Paxir. Purely professional. Do you have any idea how much paperwork your death would generate? I'd be filing forms for cycles. The levity helped, but underlying tension remained. As they made their way to the summit complex, Noah caught glimpses of protesters gathering at the perimeter. Some carried signs supporting the lottery's abolition. Others demanded its expansion. The divide ran deep as space between stars. The main assembly hall took Noah's breath away. It rose like a cathedral dedicated to compromise, with acoustic design that could make whispers, carry, or shouts vanish. Delegates filled tiered seating that seemed to stretch into infinity. At the hall's heart, a circular platform waited the stage for their improvised tribunal. General Threx sat in the Cathari delegation section, his expression unreadable as stone. He acknowledged Noah with the slightest nod. Approval, warning both. The general plays long games, Rhea murmured, following his gaze. Trust that his goals align with ours, even if his methods differ. They took their positions as the summit's opening ceremonies began. Diplomatic pageantry that Noah would have mocked weeks ago now felt weighted with possibility. Every ritual, every carefully chosen word, built toward the moment when they would transform celebration into confrontation. The summit's president, an ancient Altarian whose species had remained neutral through 17 different wars, called for presentations on matters of mutual concern. The phrase was diplomatic code for problems nobody wants to acknowledge. Perfect. Noah stood before the assembly, could move to other business. I invoke the right of familial address. Murmurs rippled through the hall. The right was archaic, rarely used, but legally binding. As the general's son-in-law, Noah could demand the assembly's attention for matters affecting family honor and obligation. The floor recognizes Noah Hart of Earth, bonded to the House of Callan. The president's tone suggested curiosity more than annoyance. Speak your concern. Noah moved to the central platform, feeling the weight of thousands of eyes. Rhea flanked him, along with Amara and their carefully selected witnesses. Galahad's mobile form projected holographic displays that hung in the air like accusatory angels. My concern, Noah began, his voice carrying clearly through the hall's perfect acoustics, is that we're gathered here celebrating peace while trafficking in flesh. The War Bride lottery isn't cultural exchange. It's industrialized slavery with better marketing. The eruption was immediate. Shouts of support and condemnation created a chaos that the acoustic dampeners struggled to contain. Through it all, Noah saw Sabine Cade rising from her corporate observer's seat, her face a mask of calculated fury. The president restored order with effort. These are serious accusations, Mr. Hart. You will substantiate them or face censure. Gladly. Noah gestured to Galahad, who began projecting evidence with mechanical precision. Shipping manifests, financial records, the algorithmic selection process laid bare. Every lottery winner generates an average of 2 million credits in debt relief, processing fees, and secondary market transactions. The selection algorithm prioritizes genetic traits, psychological profiles indicating compliance, and maximum profit potential. He paused, letting the data sink in. We're not talking about marriage. We're talking about inventory management. This is propaganda. Torvok's voice cut through the shocked silence. The Cathari minister stood, robes swirling with indignation. The lottery serves peace. It binds our peoples together through sacred unions. Sacred. Noah's laugh was sharp as broken glass. Is it sacred when lottery winners are shipped in cryo because conscious humans ask too many questions? Is it sacred when children watch their parents disappear into contracts they can't escape? You speak of isolated incidents. I speak of system design. Noah nodded to the witnesses. One by one, they took the platform. Their stories filled the hall with quiet horror. A woman describing years as a cultural artifact in a collector's private museum. A man whose marriage included provisions for his organs to be harvested upon death. Children who'd grown up in lottery households, treated as breeding experiments rather than family. Each testimony built upon the last, creating a mosaic of systematic abuse that no amount of diplomatic language could soften. Galahad provided real-time translation, ensuring every word reached every ear in their native tongue. The emotional impact was devastating. Enough. Cade had abandoned her observer status, striding toward the platform with security in tow. This is theater, not evidence. These malcontents were compensated for their participation. They agreed to terms. Under duress, Amara interrupted, producing legal documentation. Consent given to escape starvation isn't consent. It's coercion. Every legal tradition recognizes this distinction. The lottery serves a vital economic function, Cade continued, addressing the assembly rather than Noah. It facilitates debt reconciliation, promotes genetic diversity, and maintains the peace we all fought to achieve. Would you rather return to war? False dichotomy, Noah shot back. Peace built on exploitation isn't peace. It's conquest by contract. The debate raged for hours. Noah and his team presented evidence with surgical precision. Cade and Torvak countered with economic projections and fears of renewed conflict. Through it all, the assembly watched with growing discomfort. The comfortable fiction of the lottery as cultural exchange was dying in real time. Then Rhea played their trump card. "I call for testimony from the enlisted ranks," she announced, using her military standing with devastating effect. "Let those who fought the war speak to the peace." The assembly couldn't refuse. Military testimony carried weight that civilian voices lacked. The first soldier who took the platform was Cathari, scarred by combat, speaking with quiet intensity. "I fought humans for 7 years," he said. "Killed them. Watched them kill my unit brothers. When peace came, I thought the dying was over. Then I saw lottery winners processed through the same facilities we used for prisoners. Different paperwork, same chains." More soldiers followed, human and Cathari, officer and enlisted. All united by a simple message: they hadn't bled for peace, only to see it monetized. Their words carried the authority of sacrifice that no politician could match. Noah watched the assembly's mood shift. Discomfort became disgust. Disgust became determination. When the president called for recess, the outcome felt inevitable but not yet secured. During the break, Noah found himself cornered by Cade in a side chamber. Her polished exterior had cracked, revealing something sharp and desperate beneath. "You have no idea what you're destroying," she hissed. "The lottery isn't just profit. It's stability. Without controlled population exchange, the radicals win. The war reignites. Billions die. You're scared," Noah realized. "Not of war, of irrelevance, and without the lottery, you're just another war profiteer with nothing left to sell." "Your sister seems to think differently." Cade's smile was poison. "She's quite comfortable in our facility, cooperating fully with research initiatives." Noah's control snapped. He moved forward, but Rhea's hand on his arm stopped him. "Where is she?" "Safe. For now. But if the lottery ends, our research funding disappears. Hard choices would have to be made about non-profitable subjects." "You just threatened my sister's life in front of witnesses," Rhea said calmly. "In diplomatic territory. That's a capital offense in 12 jurisdictions." Cade paled, but stood her ground. "Prove it." "Already done," Galahad announced from speakers they hadn't noticed. "Audio and video recorded, transmitted to secure servers, and formatted for legal submission. Would you like me to play it back?" Cade fled, leaving Noah shaking with rage, and Rhea holding him steady. "We'll get Maya," she promised. "But first, we finish this." The session resumed with new energy. Cade's absence was noted, her threat already circulating through back channels. When the vote came, it wasn't close. The assembly voted to establish a charter of mutual choice, retroactively requiring explicit, ongoing consent for all lottery pairings. But Noah wasn't finished. As celebrations began, he retook the platform one final time. "This charter is a beginning, not an ending," he said. "Every lottery winner needs the chance to choose freely. That means support systems, legal advocacy, and protection from retaliation. It means treating people as people, not investments. And it means accountability for those who profited from suffering." He looked directly at Torvak. "Minister, you have 48 hours to release all lottery participants who wish to leave. After that, we publish everything. Every bribe, every cover-up, every name attached to every transaction." "You threaten a minister of the Regency," Torvak's voice dripped outrage. "I promise consequences for choices." Noah felt Rhea's approval, like warmth at his back. "The same promise we're making to everyone. Choose wisely." The summit concluded in chaos and victory. The charter was signed, precedent established, and the lottery's legal foundation shattered. But as they prepared to leave, General Threx approached. "Well played," he rumbled. But the war isn't over. Cade has resources. Torvak has influence. They'll strike back. We know, Rhea replied. We're ready. Are you? The general studied Noah with ancient eyes. You've painted a target on yourself, visible from neighboring galaxies. They'll come for you, for Maya, for everyone you've inspired to resist. Then we'll face them, Noah said. Together. Together. The general's mandibles clicked in what might have been approval. The human comedian who became a revolutionary, you continue to exceed expectations. I had excellent teachers, Noah glanced at Rhea, and motivation. As they departed Kite's perch, Noah felt the weight of victory mixing with exhaustion. They'd won a crucial battle, but Cade's threat echoed in his mind. Maya was still captive, still being used for unknown research. The coordinates burned in his memory. We'll go after her, Rhea said, reading his thoughts with uncomfortable accuracy. But not alone, not unprepared. Cade expects desperate rescue attempts. We'll give her something else. What? Justice. The kind that comes with warrants and witnesses. Rhea's smile was sharp as her tactical mind. She threatened your sister in diplomatic territory. That gives us jurisdiction. We're going to do this legally, publicly, and thoroughly. Noah laughed, exhaustion making it sound slightly hysterical. My wife, the romantic, sweet-talking me with legal procedures and tactical planning. Would you prefer flowers and poetry? From you, the legal procedures are more intimate. They spent the journey back, planning their next moves. The charter needed implementation, lottery winners needed support, and somewhere, in a hidden facility, Maya Hart waited for rescue that would come wrapped in legal documentation rather than explosions. You know, Noah said as Aurelia Spindle came into view. When I mocked the lottery, I expected to be arrested or ignored. I didn't expect to reshape interstellar law. Expectations are tactical weaknesses, Rhea replied. Better to adapt to circumstances as they develop. Is that why you adapted to me, circumstances? She was quiet for a long moment. Initially, yes. You were a convenient solution to an immediate problem. Now, she met his eyes. Now you're a partner I would choose freely, daily, without reservation or external pressure. Noah felt something tight in his chest loosen. That might be the most romantic thing anyone's ever said to me. I can do better. She took his hand. Noah Hart, you transformed a forced marriage into genuine partnership, a joke into a revolution, and made me believe change is possible. I choose you, present tense, active voice, no algorithm required. He kissed her then, there in the shuttle with victory behind them and danger ahead. It tasted like hope and determination and the promise of tomorrow's battles fought together. When they landed, Paxir was waiting with updates. Cade's gone underground. Torvak is demanding emergency sessions to reverse the charter, and we have 17 different planetary governments requesting consent, carnival events. Busy times ahead, Noah observed. The best kind, Amara added, joining them. Oh, and Galahad asked me to mention he's been analyzing the facility coordinates. He thinks he's found a legal approach vector that doesn't require assault teams. My favorite kind of vector, Noah said. Rhea, how do you feel about a honeymoon that includes light infiltration and heavy litigation? I feel like I married correctly. She squeezed his hand. Let's go save your sister and end this properly. As they entered the media district, Noah saw crowds gathered around screens, watching summit footage on repeat. The image of soldiers testifying against the lottery played again and again, each viewing spreading cracks through the old system's foundation. We actually did it, he murmured. We started it, Rhea corrected. Now comes the harder part, making it stick. But looking at their team, at the crowds beginning to believe in choice, at his wife who'd chosen him freely, Noah felt ready for whatever came next. The lottery had made him a son-in-law. Revolution was making him something more. Tomorrow would bring new battles. But tonight, they'd proven that consent could triumph over coercion, that love could grow from the strangest beginnings, and that sometimes the best revenge was simply refusing to play by the rules that tried to break you. The tribunal was over. The transformation had begun. The decommissioned mining platform floated in dead space, like a secret written in metal and shadow. Noah studied the facility through the shuttle's viewport, his stomach tight with anticipation. 3 days of legal maneuvering had brought them here, armed with warrants instead of weapons, accompanied by arbitrators instead of assault teams. 87 life signs, Paxier reported from his station. Concentrated in the central hub. Minimal security presence, which is either very good or very bad. It's desperation, Rhea said, analyzing tactical displays with practiced ease. Cade knows legal approaches take time. She's counting on bureaucratic delays to cover whatever she's doing in there. Noah pulled up Galahad's analysis one more time. The AI had been meticulous, tracing ownership through shell companies and shadow contracts until finding the one legal vulnerability: the facility operated under salvage law, which meant any sentient being held there could claim right of rescue. Maya's lottery contract, ironically, gave her legal standing Cade hadn't anticipated. Arbitrator Keeves is ready, Amara announced, returning from the shuttle's communication station. She's reviewed all documentation. We have legal authority to enter and investigate. Then, let's go get my sister. Noah stood, checking the recorder units attached to his suit. Everything would be documented. Every word, every action would become evidence. Galahad, you're sure about the layout? 94% certain, the AI replied through speakers. The remaining 6% accounts for unauthorized modifications and my growing suspicion that this facility serves multiple purposes. Multiple purposes. The power consumption patterns suggest medical research, data processing, and something my algorithms classify as aggressively proprietary. I believe humans would call it suspicious as hell. They docked without resistance. The facility's automated systems accepted their legal codes, opening passages with mechanical indifference. Noah felt the wrongness. Immediately the air tasted recycled too many times, and the walls carried a subsonic hum that made his teeth ache. This way. Rhea led them through corridors that showed signs of hasty modification. Medical equipment bolted to mining infrastructure. Laboratory clean rooms carved from ore processing chambers. It was a facility wearing an awkward disguise. They found the first lottery winners in what had been a mineral storage bay. 23 humans and Cathari, living in conditions that technically met legal requirements while crushing any sense of dignity. They looked up at the arbitrator's uniform with expressions caught between hope and learned helplessness. "We're here to help," Noah said, his voice carrying despite the space's oppressive acoustics. "The Charter of Mutual Choice applies retroactively. Anyone who wants to leave can leave. Today." "They said we're research volunteers," one woman whispered. "Said our contracts included provisions for cultural study." "Show me the contracts," Arbitrator Keeves demanded. Her Altarian features remained neutral, but Noah caught the disgust in her eyes as she reviewed the documents. "These are forgeries, crude ones. Your original lottery contracts contained no such provisions." The relief that swept through the room was palpable, but Noah's attention caught on a young Cathari in the corner, holding what looked like a human infant. "That's not possible," Rhea breathed, moving closer. "Our species can't—" "They can now," the Cathari said quietly. "They made us compatible, said it was for peace, for unity." She held the child protectively. "She's mine. Whatever else they did, she's mine." Noah felt his anger crystallize into something beyond rage. They weren't just trading people. They were experimenting on them, creating new forms of exploitation that would last generations. "Where's the research center?" he asked, voice deadly calm. "Lower levels. But you can't." The Cathari stopped herself. "The woman in charge, Cade. She has others. Security protocols. If you interfere—" "We're not interfering," Amara said firmly. "We're executing legal warrants. There's a significant difference." They left Paxer and a security team to begin evacuation procedures and descended deeper into the facility. Each level revealed new horrors wrapped in clinical language: genetic modification chambers, behavioral conditioning suites, and everywhere, lottery winners who'd been transformed from people into test subjects. "Recording everything," Galahad announced. "This data will be quite useful for the War Crimes Tribunal I'm already drafting. I'm particularly proud of the section on involuntary genetic manipulation. I used especially accusatory fonts. They found Maya in a medical suite that looked more like a luxury prison. She was sedated, connected to monitoring equipment that tracked everything from neural activity to hormone levels." Noah rushed forward, but Rhea caught his arm. "Wait, look at the readings." The displays showed active scans, real-time data collection. Maya wasn't just being held. She was being studied, mapped. Her genetic code displayed like a commodity assessment. "Get her out," Noah said through gritted teeth. "Now!" Medical technicians who'd been hiding emerged under the arbitrator's authority, disconnecting Maya with nervous efficiency. She stirred as the sedatives were neutralized, eyes focusing with difficulty. "And Noah," her voice was rough from disuse. "You actually came—" "Of course I came." He supported her as she sat up, rage warring with relief. "I'm sorry it took so long. They said I was helping peace efforts, contributing to genetic diversity studies." She laughed bitterly. "They made it sound noble while they took samples and ran tests and—" She stopped, looking at Rhea. "You're Cathari." "I'm your sister-in-law, apparently." Rhea's tone was gentle. "And we're getting you out of here. All of us." Maya gestured weakly at the other occupied medical suites. "They have dozens, maybe hundreds. Not just lottery winners, volunteers who thought they were helping integration efforts, people who—" Alarms screamed to life. Security doors slammed shut. The lights shifted to emergency amber. Sabine Cade's voice filled the air, corporate smooth even in crisis. "I'm afraid I can't allow you to interfere with critical research. Mr. Hart, the work we're doing here transcends your petty legal maneuvers. We're creating the future of human Cathari integration." "You're creating slaves," Noah shot back. "Designer genetics for made-to-order offspring. It's eugenics with a marketing department." "It's survival." Cade appeared on wall displays, her composure cracking. "Do you think natural peace is possible? Our species are too different. Without intervention, without guided development, we'll be at war again within a generation. I'm saving billions of lives. By sacrificing hundreds, by making sacrifice unnecessary." Her control shattered completely. "Every successful hybrid, every compatible pairing, proves we can coexist. The lottery provides test subjects willing to—" "Willing." Noah helped Maya stand. "You drugged my sister. You're harvesting genetic material. You're forcing reproduction between species that need medical intervention to conceive. There's nothing willing about any of this." "The arbitrator has reviewed the evidence," Keeves announced, her authority cutting through Cade's rhetoric. "This facility is in violation of 37 interstellar accords. You will release all personnel and submit to arrest." "I think not." Cade's image smiled coldly. "Security protocols are active. No one leaves until my work is complete. You can wait with the test subjects or—" The display cut to static. Emergency lights failed. For a moment, absolute darkness reigned. Then backup systems activated, and Galahad's voice filled the space with what could only be described as smug satisfaction. "Apologies for the dramatic lighting. I've taken the liberty of assuming control of this facility's systems. Sabine Cade is currently locked in her office, discovering that security protocols work both ways. Shall I play some music while we complete the evacuation? I've been composing what I call juridical jazz. Maybe later, Noah said, unable to suppress a laugh. Can you open the medical suites? Already done. Also, I've transmitted all research data to 17 different judicial oversight committees. The ethics violations alone will fuel academic outrage for decades. They worked quickly, evacuating researchers who ranged from horrified by the revelation of their work's true purpose to defiantly committed to Cade's vision. The lottery winners and volunteers were another matter. Many needed medical support, psychological counseling, and immediate care. Transport shuttles arriving, Paxier reported. Medical teams standing by. We'll get everyone to proper facilities. Noah found Cade in her sealed office, raging at displays that showed her life's work being systematically dismantled. When she saw him, her fury transformed into something colder. You've doomed us all, she said. Without controlled integration, fear wins. Prejudice wins. War wins. Fear was already winning, Noah replied. You just gave it a corporate logo and profit margins. Real peace comes from choice, not test tubes. Naive idealist. You think your little charter changes anything, people will still fear difference. Still hate what they don't understand. Maybe. But they'll have to do it without government sponsorship and corporate infrastructure. He turned to the arbitrator. She's all yours. As Cade was led away, still prophesying doom. Noah felt exhaustion settling into his bones. They'd won. Shut down the facility, rescued the victims, exposed the deeper corruption. But the victory felt hollow when he thought of all the lives already altered. We should go, Rhea said quietly. Maya needs proper medical attention. They all do. The evacuation took hours. Each shuttle departure carried survivors toward freedom and Cade's vision further from reality. Noah stayed until the end, making sure no one was left behind. Maya stayed with him, leaning on his shoulder, healing, beginning with proximity. You really married a Cathari general's daughter to save me, she asked, as they watched the final shuttle preparations. Actually, I married her by accident. Saving you was just a bonus. He squeezed her hand. It's a long story involving comedy, consent, and surprising amounts of legal documentation. Sounds like you... Maya studied Rhea, who was coordinating with medical teams. She seems nice, terrifying, but nice. That's an accurate assessment. Noah smiled. We chose each other. Eventually, deliberately. It makes a difference. Choice, Maya repeated. Something Cade never offered. She talked about peace and unity while keeping us sedated and compliant. Never again, Noah promised. The lottery's dead. The charter killed it. What Cade built dies today. Tomorrow, we build something better. The facility powered down as they departed, going dark against the stars. Noah watched it fade, carrying its secrets and horrors into obsolescence. In the shuttle, survivors shared stories, comfort, and tentative hope. The Cathari with the hybrid infant sang a lullaby that Galahad translated in whispers, a song about choosing your own destiny. So what now? Amara asked as they approached Aurelia Spindle. The lottery's dismantled. Cade's arrested. The charter's in effect. Victory on all fronts. Now we do the hard work, Rhea answered. Implementation, support systems, making sure what we destroyed stays dead. And Noah prompted, knowing her tactical mind had already mapped the future. And we live, publicly, proudly, a human and Cathari who chose each other freely, building something that isn't about treaties or profit, but actual partnership. You want to be symbols. I want to be examples. There's a difference. She took his hand. Besides, Someone has to show the galaxy what consensual love looks like. Why not the comedian who started a revolution by refusing to shut up? They landed to crowds. Word had spread the facility shut down. Survivors rescued. Evidence of deeper corruption exposed. The media swarmed, but Noah felt ready for them. This was his arena, where words became weapons and truth trumped profit. Mr. Hart, how does it feel to have dismantled the lottery system? Like the beginning, he answered. We've removed a symptom. Now we address the disease, the belief that people can be traded for peace, that bodies can be currency, that consent is negotiable. What's next for you and your wife? Noah looked at Rhea, saw his own determination reflected in her eyes. We're going to keep choosing each other, every day, publicly, and we're going to help others do the same. The lottery is dead. Long live actual choice. They pushed through the crowd, Maya between them, Amara and Paxir flanking, Galahad coordinating through every speaker in range, their strange family, forged in crisis and tempered by purpose. That night, in the quiet of their quarters, Noah finally allowed himself to feel the weight of what they'd accomplished. The lottery was finished, not just damaged or reformed, but ended. The charter would need enforcement, survivors would need support, and the deeper prejudices Cade exploited would take generations to heal. But the machinery of exploitation was broken. You're thinking too loud, Rhea said from beside him. I can hear your mind racing from here. Processing. It's been a very full few weeks. From comedian to revolutionary to war crimes investigator, she traced patterns on his arm. How does it feel? Like I finally used my voice for something that matters. All those years mocking authority, and I never realized I could actually change it. You didn't do it alone. No. I had a tactical genius, a diplomatic prodigy, a security expert with perfect deadpan timing, and an AI developing judicial jazz, plus one very patient father-in-law who knew exactly what he was doing when he let me marry his daughter. He saw potential, Rhea agreed, in you, in us, in the possibility of change. And now we prove him right. The charter needs shepherds. The survivors need advocates. The galaxy needs to see that different species can choose each other freely and build something beautiful. No pressure. None at all, she smiled, the expression transforming her face. Just save civilization through responsible relationship modeling and occasional comedy. I can do that. We can do that. A soft chime indicated incoming messages. Noah checked, finding notes from lottery survivors who'd watched the broadcasts. Thanks. Hope. Stories of choosing freedom. Each one proof that change was possible. Read this, Maya said from the doorway. She'd been staying with them during initial recovery, finding her feet in a galaxy suddenly full of choices. It's from that Cathari with the baby. She says she's keeping her daughter, raising her as proof that love can come from even the darkest circumstances. Good for her, Noah said. Choice includes choosing to find beauty in horror, to make something better from something worse. Speaking of which, Maya shifted nervously. I've been thinking about what I want to do now. Cade stole years from me, from all of us. I want to help make sure it never happens again. What did you have in mind? Amara's offered me a position, junior advocate, specializing in consent law and survivor advocacy. I'd be working with lottery survivors, helping them navigate freedom. She met his eyes. I want to turn what happened to me into something useful. Noah stopped, emotion catching his voice. That's perfect. You're perfect. I'm proud of you. Learn from my big brother. When life gives you trauma, make transformation. She hugged him quickly. Plus, someone needs to keep you from getting too full of yourself. Revolutionary hero is a bad look on you. I'll stick to revolutionary comedian. Lower expectations. The next morning brought new challenges. Torvak was demanding emergency hearings. Several colonies were reporting unrest as lottery contracts dissolved. The old system's death throes were messy, complicated, and exactly what Noah expected. Ready for another day of saving civilization? Rhea asked over breakfast. Always, but first, coffee. Even heroes need caffeine. My hero needs caffeine, proper breakfast, and 3 uninterrupted hours to write new material. She pushed a plate toward him. The galaxy's changing. Your comedy should reflect that. You scheduled my creativity. I optimized your revolutionary output. There's a difference. Noah laughed, feeling the truth of their partnership in small moments like this. They'd started as a joke, the comedian forced to marry the general's daughter. They'd become something unprecedented, equal partners in transforming worlds. His comm unit buzzed with an incoming call. General Threx appeared on the display, his expression unreadable as always. Father, Rhea greeted him formally. Daughter, son. The general's use of the familiar term still surprised Noah. I watched the facility footage. Efficiently done. Thank you. The charter's implementation will face resistance. Old powers don't die quietly. I'm assigning additional resources to your protection. We don't need, Noah began. You need to survive long enough to cement change, Threx interrupted. Dead martyrs inspire songs. Living advocates change laws. Choose wisely. The call ended with characteristic abruptness. Noah looked at Rhea. Your father's warming up to me. He called you son without irony. In Callan family terms, you're practically adopted. She stood, gathering her materials for the day's advocacy sessions. Now come. We have 3 survivor support meetings, 2 legal challenges, and a media interview about consent education. And tonight, we're having dinner with Maya, Amara, Paxier, and Galahad's mobile unit. He's attempting to cook. I'm told we should be either impressed or terrified. Our strange little family, our chosen family, Rhea corrected. The best kind. They left their quarters together, ready for whatever the day brought. The lottery was dead, but its ghost would haunt the galaxy for years. There would be setbacks, resistance, moments when the old way seemed easier than the new. But Noah had learned something in his journey from mocking observer to active participant. Change was possible. Choice was powerful. And sometimes, the best revenge against a system that tried to own you was simply refusing to play by its rules. The future stretched ahead, complicated and challenging and full of possibility. Noah Hart had started this journey as a comedian who mocked the powerful. He'd continue it as a man who'd learned to transform mockery into movement, jokes into justice, and an accidental marriage into a love worth choosing every day. The revolution had been televised. Now came the harder part, making it stick. But with Rhea beside him and purpose ahead, Noah felt ready for whatever came next. They'd proven that consent could triumph over coercion. Now they'd prove that triumph could last. The lottery was over. The real work of building a better world had just begun.